Andy here. What's happening? I am joined today by Bill Mello of Toshiba. How are you, Bill? What's going on? What's happening?
I'm doing very well. Hi, Andy, and happy Memorial Day. Good to see you, my friend.
Great to see you. You are obviously working out of the home office today. I don't think I've spoken to you out of this office. We have a few toys behind you.
Yes, you just a little bit of a peek at my guitar collection, my personal joy.
Well, I would love to spend the next 20 minutes talking to you about that, but unfortunately, we're going to talk about office equipment, print, Toshiba. Let's talk about first of all, let's give a little background. I think most people know you and what you do and what Toshiba does, but for anyone watching this, a new rep or someone who's maybe not familiar, why don't you just give us a little background on Toshiba and what you got and what you do for them?
Well, Toshiba America Business Solutions is one of the leading providers of office equipment, MFPs, and document solutions in the US. I've been with them now for 22 years.
Wow.
Currently is, yeah, wow, that's what I say too. Currently is Vice President of Marketing and Strategic Business Development. Got a number of different roles there, led the major account business for a while, and part of my responsibility now is our thermal barcode business from a sales and marketing standpoint. So that's one of our big growth areas. Uh, Currently living in Las Vegas. I have been for the last couple of years. So that's why the home office situation, as much as I try and get Toshiba to move entirely out here to Vegas, it probably is not going to happen, at least for the short while.
Well, let's catch up on Toshiba and some of these things you mentioned that you're covering now. We can just jump right in and talk about the last time we saw you was you had a big dealer meeting last year, and here we are 2024, and a lot of the products have rolled out. So maybe let's get an update on, how's your year started off? We're a quarter of the way through the year. You guys just finished your year. You're on, I think Toshiba's on an April calendar. So how did Toshiba do last year, and how's your first quarter going of 2024?
Well, great. And, we had our lead conference in September of last year. First time we'd been with the dealership, I think 5 years. So it was great seeing everybody. Just concluded our dealer incentive trip to Croatia, Montenegro. That was
Ooh, nice.
received, as you can imagine. Funny thing is that was actually scheduled to happen in 2020. So it was delayed not once, but twice, as our leads were also delayed twice. So that was great to see everyone together at both of those events. At Lead, we announced, or we discussed really four different initiatives for Toshiba and really our core strategies. The first of which was to not only hit but maintain a 10% market share in the A3 MFP marketplace. The second is to continue growing our managed print as a service. Third was the continued growth and success of our Elevate Sky Cloud strategy. And third was the thermal barcode business. And I'm really happy to say, you asked about how we're doing this first quarter. First quarter of the calendar year, the end of our fiscal year, we achieved a 9.7% market share for total A3. We're like 12.5 or something in monochrome.
Wow.
So both of those were records.
Wow.
Yeah, very exciting. Uh, and we're feeling really good about hitting that 10% mark and plus. So that's going great. Our managed print services business is going gangbusters. We can talk about Elevate Sky and Thermal. Both of those are very near and dear to my heart. Finished off the fiscal year great, well above plan, above 2019 numbers. I think we're lucky in not only are the units coming back and surpassing 2019, but our print volume is doing great as well. So, obviously we have better view of that on the TBS side. We have a significant school population in our TBS MIF, and they're coming back full force. So I'd say we're less than 10% off on page volume at TBS and doing great on both sides of the house in terms of aftermarket sales.
So that's amazing because we all know the market is slowly declining. But It's so big, and there are such areas of opportunity that I went to a bunch of dealer kickoffs this year. POA, Flex, Dex had one as well, Visual Edge. Everybody, most of these companies, they all had really, really strong years. Most of them grew. I think all of them grew the revenue. And, so for a declining industry, it just shows that there still really is a lot of opportunity there. Are you guys doing road shows this year? Or I mean, your show last year was awesome. Maybe not gloss over that so quickly. You guys had um, close to 1,000 people at that show. I think it was still you were one of the last guys to still do an old-fashioned, big, real big, traditional office equipment technology show. He had an amazing showcase there, dozens and dozens of vendors. So usually in the off season, off years, we see companies like you maybe go to regional shows or road shows, or even just skip it all together and just do the peer groups. And what's Toshiba's plan this year for?
Well, there's been a lot of discussion about that, a lot of ideas about what is the most effective way to reach our dealers, and really to help them as the industry continues to transition. So we've talked about road shows. I think where we've landed is more kind of focused one-on-one events where we bring a number of subject matter experts into a specific dealership with a lot of focus from that one dealership and talk through their objectives more closely, as opposed to kind of rifle shot and say, here's what we're doing, right? Clearly, it's important for us, for them to understand where we think the market is going, but equally as important, if not more important, to understand where their business is, meet them where they are, help them get to that next stage. So I think that's where we're landing, and probably later on this year we'll look at developing a schedule for that.
We'll have to keep our eye on that. We did just see you guys. Megan Lujan was at DocuWorld, and I wasn't there. Jake was there. I got some pictures of you. Congratulations, another award. I think you're still the biggest DocuWare reseller out there. You guys have owned that space for a long, long time. Just another one of the strengths you had. I kind of want to talk about thermal for a little bit, because that's something I don't spend much time on. I don't know much about. You guys got into that through an acquisition a few years ago. And, I know this is something that companies like you are looking at dealers to start reselling, and a lot of dealers don't resell it. Talk to me about the reasons Toshiba got into that, how you're doing with it, and why you think it's such a strong product for a typical office equipment reseller.
Well, so we've been an OEM manufacturer for a long time, and had a very large business in Europe. T-Tech had a fairly small business in the US, and so that was transferred into Tabs. It wasn't actually an acquisition; it was
Oh, okay, okay.
a merger of one Toshiba Tech company into us. And honestly, when we picked it up, it was I think they have one US customer.
Mm.
So we were starting from pretty humble beginnings and have built that up to a pretty substantial business. In fact, probably among our largest customers, period, at Tabs are barcode customers. So we have FedEx that we've had for a number of years, the Postal Service, Target, so some Zara, some really big household names. And why it's so, it's a printing business. First and foremost, it's a printing business. It's not office printing, clearly, but it is still putting marks on paper-esque sort of media. And so when we talk to dealers, everyone's looking at, how do I fortify my revenues? As you said, office print is shrinking some.
Yeah, diversify. That's the message, right?
And people are going as wide, away from the box, away from printing, as managed IT services. And for those, there have been people who've been successful and those that have been unsuccessful in that space.
Yep.
We stay closer to printing with a number of different services. What I think makes this really attractive is again, it's still printing. It is the business that our dealers know how to do. Little different space for sure. The other thing is it's growing, right? If you think about the reasons why people use these printers, generally to produce labels, you're talking about shipping, e-commerce, manufacturing, compliance. The reason that people are using labels are all expanding. And so we don't get a lot of opportunities in the print business to grow, right? So we think this is a nice add-on. And we're being really careful about how we add dealers. because what we don't want to do is sign up a bunch of dealers and have them try and figure it out
Yeah.
because it is a new space. So we're being very curated on the dealers we pick, very much a white glove sort of situation, because we want the dealers who we ultimately bring into this space to be very successful. And often what that means when you're getting into a new area is being on the ground with them, with our own people, right? We're not asking, it'd be great if we were able to go to a dealership and say, hire this person, hire that person, hire the other person, and let's hope it works out, right? But that's A, unrealistic, and B, not fair to the dealers. So we're putting our own money with those dealers. We're putting our sales and service resources on site, going on sales calls, helping them through multiple installations so that they learn how to do that, can't stand on their own. And then we go to a different sort of support. But that, what I call white glove, is really important to make sure that dealers are successful. And so we're being very picky about who we bring into this opportunity because again, we're not going to leave their side until they can stand alone and be successful.
Well, that's an excellent, excellent approach, I would have to say, especially you get into something that you're not that familiar with, you're not that confident with, and, until you get your feet under, your legs under you, it's nice to have a partner kind of hold your hand through it, right? Is this, how easy is this to sell? Is this something your traditional copier printer rep is going to just on the way out ask, hey, how are you getting your label? Do you have any uses? Are there three questions I can give to that rep? Or is this more of a specialty kind of product to sell where I want someone fully trained on it and they're going to go into my current base and look for how do you position this within a dealership?
I don't think it's necessary to have a dedicated resource. So, for example, in TBS, where we've done this approach with a number of the branch locations, they're not hiring dedicated folks. In fact, a lot of the we look at it as really two ways. There's definitely a managed print services approach, and so like in MPAS for the office, where you had a very dominant player in terms of market share, HP, and where conditions exist where the customer was buying equipment from one party, supplies from another party, maintenance maybe from somebody else, and no one actually managing it on their behalf. Same thing happens in the barcode space. So you have a dominant MIF in Zebra, and you have, again, equipment, supplies, service coming from various parties without throwing mud at our competitors. You might
It's
say there's
confusing. It's confusing.
yeah, that's confusing. Whereas maybe not getting the sort of attention that a customer might want, and certainly no cohesion, right? No one putting the whole thing together. So we train our impasse specialists to have basically the same discussion they're having on an office print in terms of resolving those things. And then on the sales side for equipment, it is a little bit different in terms of you're not printing Word documents or PowerPoint. You're taking data streams from some sort of application, whether it's a warehouse management application or some sort of production application. And you're often replacing a Zebra device. So we have a Zebra emulation that allows you to take that data stream that's formatted for Zebra and print it out onto a sheet device. So there's some training and again hand holding to do with that. But the basics, right? Understanding who buys this, what to buy it for. Again, it's the way I explain it to folks is think about companies that make stuff, companies that move stuff, or companies that have to label for compliance. And those are your targets. So
Yeah.
you're not going to a school, as many schools as we have. Typically, you're not going to go to a school. You're not going to a bank, typically. But huge in healthcare,
Yeah, I
big
was
in
going to say healthcare has got to be the number one, right?
yeah,
Also new industries. I mean, look, we can joke about it, but marijuana industry, right? These guys have to label a lot of stuff.
yes.
The
We
wine
call it
industry.
horticulture.
Yeah, horticulture, right? But
All
like
sorts.
what wine? I know wine and custom beer bottles. I've seen those at a lot of trade shows, print trade shows. These small companies, they like to have their own custom, and often they're small print jobs, and a big printer doesn't want a big it doesn't want to touch small, short run print. They want to, do a big job. So, if I'm a small winery, like a real small winery, and I'm doing a special edition, or I want to customize labels, put people's names on, anything like that. I mean, this is where you can get really
Or
creative.
or if you're a pharmacy or just shipping boxes.
Traditional, yeah, traditional uses.
Right,
Just
right,
shipping
right.
boxes. I have to imagine. I mean, every company's got shipping, like label printers. Really, everyone.
Well, you can think about it. There's labels on the product. The product goes in a box. There's labels on that box. That box usually goes in a shipping box. There's multiple labels on that box. So yeah, it is a business that is growing in the print space. We're the only A3 manufacturer that has a thermal product line. So that's another discussion we have with our MPAS specialists and would-be dealers is if you're in a managed print deal, conventional office print, and it's in one of those spaces, and you bring into the equation thermal, you have just cut your competition out entirely.
So solid, solid way to kind of just strengthen your offering. Now, is this a product only offer to Toshiba dealers, or do you guys have a program where, maybe somebody watching this video might be of another brand? Are they allowed to talk to you? Are they allowed to pick this up?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're
Okay.
we're look at, of course, our Toshiba dealers who want to bring this on, who are prepared to invest with us or at least engage with us in making this work. We want to bring this on, but it's not at all limited to that. In fact, we'd like to bring on some companies that are not dealing with tissue because they can be leveraged against one another, but they're still separate. And we'd love to have conversations with dealerships that would like to grow in this space and are looking for a good partner.
Well, we do. We see companies, other companies that sell label printers, and they show up at BTA style events, and so that's good to know. I wasn't aware that you guys do have a program for outside dealers, outside resellers. So if you're listening and you're not a Toshiba dealer, you can pick this product up and maybe get to attend some of these nice events that they do every 5 years. Hopefully, a little sooner next time.
Hope Wilson, and Andy, we treat our dealers very well.
You
I
too.
think
You have some of the best. You guys have some of the nicest events. You just do things that are at a really great level. It's Toshiba dealers have a good time. It's all smiles. Very loyal group. But I don't want to talk about this that much longer. I want to before I let you go, I want to talk about Elevate Sky. One of the things that
sure.
we had you on for, and you guys have had a real strong cloud offering. It was one of the things. It's interesting to me as an analyst, kind of sit back and watch all the OEMs, all the vendors, because you can't do everything, right? So everybody kind of chooses their directions, where they're going to invest, what they're going to do. And so one of the things you did was cloud, right? And you got into that a little early. And now you've got this program. It's called Elevate Sky. So tell us about Elevate Sky and what is it? Why is it such an advantage to customers, to end users, to your dealers, your resellers, your branches?
So as you mentioned, everyone's making choices about how they want to grow their revenues apart from sort of the conventional print. We didn't get into managed IT services, others have. That's great. We have focused on cloud for a couple of reasons. One, we see our customers moving into the cloud for a lot of different reasons, right? The enabling technology is there. You have faster internet connection. You have a reduced cost of storage. You have customers and users have a hard time hiring and maintaining IT staff to do things that are not core. So they're moving more and more to acquiring capability through the cloud for things that aren't necessarily core, sometimes even core. But so we saw our customers going in that direction. So we knew two things. We wanted to meet them there, and also the way that they want to acquire goods and services is different. More and more people don't want to own things. Now they don't even want to necessarily lease things. They just want it when they want it. They want us to
Just want to
subscribe.
use it. Yep.
Yeah, I know people who subscribe to restaurants where you pay a monthly fee to be able to go into a
That's
restaurant. So
awesome.
the subscription economy is kind of in full force. So cloud and subscription we thought were kind of cornerstones of how organizations wanted to manage and acquire all sorts of different goods. And so what we built is this infrastructure that goes from the customer or dealer placing an order to us to enabling a subscription agreement with any number of different applications. I'll talk about all the different applications we have in a second. Where it, like Netflix, it's on, and it's on either for a set period of time, 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, or it can be on a month to month basis. Again, just like Netflix, you pay a premium.
Indefinitely.
Yeah, hopefully indefinitely, right? So that method of buying and using um, services where it's instant on, perhaps instant off, ad services on the fly is definitely, we think, how customers want to continue to buy. And we've built this elevated sky infrastructure with both end user perspective and a dealer perspective. So on the dealer side are all the service tools. We just launched a suite of 7 different service tools that let you configure, some of these we've had before, configure remotely, firmware downloads, etc. But also engage customers in kind of a real-time help session where you can actually take over the front panel of the MFP with their collaboration and show them and actually make configuration changes or actually show them how to do things right on the panel as they're right there. A whole variety of different things. And then on the end user side, we have a print management application. We have a translate application, which is great. If you have a child in school, and this is law in a lot of the United States, you have to send home documentation to the parents in their native language. We have LAUSD and through our direct operation, and New York City through one of our dealers. Just in LA, there are 97 languages spoken.
Wow.
So what our translate application does is allow you to scan a document in one language. For example, it might be authored in English, but then printed out in, right now I think it's 77 different languages. So we still have 20 more to build.
Well, catching up to do
for LAUSD. But that's all through the cloud, all subscription based. We have fax. Cloud fax, we have workflow.
So are these all modules? Is that like a module somebody would just sell? Like, do you need translation? I can just add that.
These are all,
you're
right. These are all, we have a commerce. These are all different applications. You can get them all, get them separate, get them all bundled. And again,
are these user services or are they bundled? Are they charged by device?
They can be either. So our print management application, which is not only for Toshiba, but for third-party products as well. So you can manage whatever device. That's licensed by the fleet. Translate is licensed by usage, by the page. And then our workflow application that is coming out later this year is also a usage-based. So it depends on the application. Some are just enterprise license, unlimited use. Some are consumption-based. Some are MFP-based or device-based.
So you have everything's under a kind of an umbrella of Elevate Sky. Then you have a sales component, you have a service component. Are there other groups for finance, for solutions? I would imagine, obviously.
Yeah. So each of the applications, as you can imagine, as we add applications onto the infrastructure, all that does, I mean, the basic infrastructure says, I can place an order, subscribe, have use of this application for however long, add, subtract, services, add, subtract users, and then, it goes until you want it to end. So that basic infrastructure, we just add more and more products. It's like, for example, your streaming services. So you have right? This is like adding an HBO and a Showtime and a Netflix, whatever. So you can have them all. You can have one. You can have your Netflix with 4K. So it's that same sort of paradigm that we think is the way that businesses want to buy and use. Because what happens is you don't need, when you do that, you don't have to have experts at the company on site. You don't need to have IT managing it. You don't have to have an administrator doing it if you don't want to. It's all a managed service.
It's all automated. And it's two things. Right? It's first, it's how customers want to buy and are conditioned to buying now. I don't know if they'll always do that, but right now everyone likes buying that way. And then the other piece is, not only is it how customers want, but it's as a seller, Yeah, you're going to get a certain percentage. I don't know what that percentage is, but you're going to get a certain amount of customers who just forget about it and just let it go forever. And it's easy money. I mean, eventually maybe you audit them, right? You do the right thing. Say, hey, it's been a while. Maybe we should look to see if these people still work here. But I think there's going to be a lot of that. I'm scared to death to see what I actually wind up paying for on a monthly basis between Netflix and Hulu. And I mean, I have all of them, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
wanted it this way. I wanted to get away from cable. I couldn't wait to get away from cable because they were charging me so much. And if I look to see now, I probably pay a lot more than I ever did when I was with cable with all these separate. But that's the thing. That's what I wanted, right? As the
Right.
consumer, I wanted to be able to pick and choose. I wanted that service. This it wasn't my fault that all these companies figured out, well, we could just put one great show over here that he wants and one great show over here. But that's the way it is. If I want it, I'll go get it.
Right.
And I think that's an interesting way to sell. And honestly, that's what customers are buying now. So why not do that? I think that's a great way to do it. You say you're having success with the dealers yet, or is it too new to really?
So the first one we launched to our Scott, the services has been launched. Dealers are all over it using it. That's a big success. We are now in the process. Oh, we've launched the print management application, which
Hmm.
has also gone over very well because it's multi-fleet, multi brand. So it's not just managing Toshiba devices. There are
Yeah.
some things on the Toshiba devices you can do that are unique, like brand the front panel and do some other sort of capability, but it's meant to manage what you have. So that's gone over very well. Translate, we've just launched to the branches. We've already got some big wins there. That'll come out in June for dealers. Our commerce application, which you haven't talked about, super excited about. That'll launch to dealers in later on this year. It's launching in
So that's an
January.
e-commerce platform? Is that?
Yeah, it's an e-commerce platform that's unlike any other that we've seen. Because most e-commerce platforms have a site with a gazillion products, right? And everyone who goes to that site gets the same price, same product, etc. But
Hmm.
that's not how our industry works, right?
Right.
Every customer has their own devices, their own pricing. So we built a website or a commerce platform that allows a dealer to be able to create literally as many sites as they want, entirely unique, different products, different prices, different shipping terms, different payment terms, etc., all from a single platform, all simple, easy to set up, integrated with the Automate. So that's unique and very exciting.
That is awesome. So we're kind of out of time, but I definitely want to come back and revisit I think e-commerce is a huge opportunity for our world. And we were all, sitting through ECS at Mike's Executive Connection Summit, and we heard Frank Kuko at Impact get up there and talk about the amount of money he's generating each month. And I know after talking to the people who run that uh e-commerce platform for him. That number is way higher now than it was just when he started talking about it a few months ago. So um, we're not talking about competing with Amazon. We're talking about setting up, you know, a system that your customers are going to want to use so they can automate their buying, so they can buy online without having to deal with the sales rep, which, we want the sales rep to be free to go hunt down new game, right? Not babysit customers who are already happy and already willing to go into a portal and buy, without them babysitting them. So I love that idea. And let's put a pin in that and come back and talk again about your e-commerce platform a little more in depth when we can do it a little bit more justice. But we are out of time. This has been great catching up with you. It's been too long. Any shout out to anyone? Anything last words of wisdom from Bill Mello?
Well, I hope everyone has a great summer. Next time we get together, Andy, hopefully we can talk about what we're doing in AI, which is also really exciting. It's You're right. It's been too long since we've had a chance to chat. I forgot my hat. I would wear my hat if
We need to get you another hat, or at least get you on with your old one. So, um,
yeah.
great seeing you. Great seeing you. Good catching up with you. Say hi to everybody out there, and we'll catch up soon. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.